Have you ever realized that you're the friend that always reaches out first? You're the one making plans, you're the one connecting, checking in, remembering birthdays, special holidays, and somehow you're always the one that's the afterthought friend. You see photos of your friends out having dinner. You're always silent in the group chat. You are always the one reaching out, but not reciprocated. Friends are saying, yeah, let's get together soon. And crickets. And after a while, you start to wonder if it's you. You question yourself. What have you done? And sometimes it's just that the friends that you're with, they do not value you. But also sometimes it is that there's patterns that you've maybe continued, and that's partly the reason as well. We can't always look to other people to blame for a problem that's happened. Sometimes it's us, but sometimes it's not. Being that afterthought friend, it definitely hurts. It's very silent. It's nothing dramatic. You just don't get invited. Friends don't reciprocate. Friends don't reach out. And you start to question your own value. But, I had this conversation on the weekend with my husband because I have several friends and I'm always the one reaching out. And I had a very good friend that I grew up with. So I'm 54. We grew up at the time that we were teenagers, so preteen and then teenagers from 13 until 20 years old. We were best friends. We celebrated Duran Duran together. So any of my midlife ladies out there will know who Duran Duran is. We were completely obsessed. So that was our thing. We loved Duran Duran. We always dreamed about seeing them. As we became adults later in life, we did see them. But anyway, so this friend, I reached out to her to wish her a happy Mother's Day. Again, I'm always reaching out to people. So I reached out to her, happy Mother's Day. Yep, no problem, happy Mother's Day. And then a few days later, I got a message from her saying, hey, I have, she sent me a link to a Duran Duran, band, whatever. And she said, hey, I have an extra ticket. Did you want to come? So I said, absolutely, I would love to go. And then I hear back from her the following day saying, okay, that's great news. Tickets $20. There's going to be 4 of us. And I got thinking, okay, this was always our thing. From the time we were, young preteens, we adored this band. And then to find out that basically I was just the afterthought. So I was a little bit put off. I think I was put off just because we'd been friends for so long and that was our thing. And then to find out that there are 4 people going to this event and basically I was the last one that she thought to ask. So I, kind of hummed and hawed about it for a little while, but then I got thinking, really, I'm just happy that I was invited to begin with. And I try not to read too much into things anymore. Trust me, I did in the past. And I think, partly this is my fault as well, because over the years we have lost contact a little bit. I haven't always been there in her life. So that's the thing. When there are issues with people, you have to look at yourself as well to see what perhaps you have done. And in some cases, it's really not that serious. It's not something that's serious enough to cause a big argument and no longer be friends. So I was a little bit put off, but also, like I said, I looked to myself and realized, I haven't really been that active in her life in the last 20 years. She does have a lot of friends. I was hurt that I wasn't her first choice, but I've moved on past that because at this point, when we get to midlife, we're very limited with our friends and we're very selective with our friends. And I think just getting out of the house and going to do something is a bonus at this point because many of us just want to be home anyway. So my point is that we can't look at everyone else and blame everyone else when there's something wrong. We have to look at ourselves as well. One of the biggest things is that you have to recognize your own value and the value that you want out of your friends. Not everyone is going to be someone in your life that actually provides value. For many people, they have friendships that are just out of convenience. They're not emotionally connected or attached. They're not consistent with contact. Maybe there's a little bit of competitiveness there and a little bit of jealousy. That does tend to happen in many friendships. So you have to recognize the value of yourself and also recognize what you want out of a friend. And if you are okay with accepting a friend that's like I just explained, then that's your prerogative. That's what you choose. But understanding first your own value, that's the most important thing. You have to find people that appreciate you, and not everyone is your person. You know, you're going to have friends that don't appreciate who you are, don't appreciate what you have to offer, and you can't be in a friendship where you leave your interactions with that friend feeling like you're starting to question your own worth, that you are like auditioning for closeness with that person. If it's that much work, then perhaps it's not the best friendship for you. I found over the years that, many of us will cycle through different groups of friends. And I think we're all just wanting to feel accepted. We all want to feel belonging in some way. And sometimes we do sacrifice a lot and we put up with a lot. It's very hard to find genuine friends nowadays. And I think with social media and the comparing and the competition and everything else, it makes it very difficult. And if you're in a friendship and you're constantly feeling like you're in competition, like that person secretly is praying for your downfall, they're not honest and genuine, then perhaps that person is not for you. And I think you're better off to just not have that person or have friends unless you have people that you can be yourself. They're genuine. They actually want the best for you. They're trustworthy. And I know it's very hard to find those people, and it does take time to develop those friendships. And so many people just have superficial friendships. They're either just situational, they're just very surface level, nothing, emotional, no big connections. And I think, unfortunately, that's the way society has kind of moved in the sense of, the connection that people have. So if you do have those good, close friends, hang on to them for sure. Do what you have to do to nurture those friendships. But if there are people in your life that are causing you grief and you're always questioning the friendship, it's not worth having them in your life. The mental peace of being free of all of that is worth a lot more than just having some random person to go out with that is not really in your corner trying to support you. If you're an afterthought friend, I hope that you will stop measuring your worth based on how frequently people reach out to you, how loudly they cheer for you, because understanding your own value is probably the most important step in having secure relationships and friendships. And it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to cut people out of your life that aren't there as a genuine friend and providing value to you. And eventually you're going to choose relationships that make you feel good, that make you feel valued and respected. And I'm curious to see in the comments or to hear what your thoughts are on friendships at any age, because I feel like a lot of people are experiencing the same thing where they have very limited friendships and the friendships that they have are very superficial. It is very hard to find genuine friends nowadays. Let me know in the comments that you're here, what your experiences have been. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And until next time, bye for now.